It was a rainy evening in the city. The streets were wet with shining lights. Cars moved slowly, and people hurried with umbrellas. Inside a small apartment, a young man named Daniel sat alone. It was his birthday, but there were no balloons, no friends, no cake, only silence. Daniel was an ordinary man. He worked at a small bookstore. He had no family near him. He had no big dreams. His life was simple, almost invisible. Birthdays were never special for him, but this year something strange was about to happen. At exactly 7 o'clock, a loud knock came to his door. He frowned. He was not expecting anyone. When he opened the door, he found a large black box on the floor. The box was tall, made of smooth metal, and had no labels, no delivery note, nothing. Daniel looked left and right down the hall, but it was empty. No delivery man, no footsteps, just the sound of the rain. Confused, he dragged the box inside. It was heavy, heavier than it looked. The box had strange markings on its surface, symbols glowing faintly blue. Daniel touched one of the marks, and the box hissed, slowly opening with a puff of cold mist. Daniel stepped back in shock. Inside the box was a woman, not an ordinary woman. She was beautiful, tall, her skin almost glowing with a soft silver light, her hair long and black, her eyes shining bright like stars. She wore a simple white suit made of unknown material. She looked too perfect to be human. Daniel froze, his mouth dry. He whispered, "What is this? Who are you?" The woman opened her eyes. She looked at him calmly, her voice soft and clear. "I was sent to you." Daniel's heart raced. He did not understand. Who could send a woman like this and why? He shook his head. Is this some joke? Is someone playing with me? But deep inside, he knew this was real. Too real. The woman stepped out of the box. She moved with grace like she was floaties. The air felt different around her, warmer, stronger. Daniel's apartment lights flickered as she walked. She stopped a few feet away and looked directly into his eyes. "My name is Leora," she said. "I am not from your world." Her words were simple, but the meaning was heavy. Daniel laughed nervously. "Not from this world? You mean you are an alien?" Leora nodded slowly. "Yes, and I was sent here for you today, on your birthday." Daniel could not breathe for a moment. It felt impossible, yet the truth was standing in front of him. He stepped closer, but stopped, afraid. "Why? Why me? I am no one. I am just a normal man." She did not answer directly. Her eyes softened, as if she wanted to explain but could not. She whispered, "Because the Watchers chose you." Daniel felt a chill. "The Watchers? Who are they?" But before Leora could reply, the window rattled, the lights flickered again. Outside, the rain fell harder, like the sky itself was warning him. Leora turned her head sharply, her glowing eyes narrowing. "They are already watching," she said, her voice tense. "We do not have much time." Daniel panicked. "Watching? Who is watching? What do you mean?" But Leora only raised her hand. A small device appeared from her palm, glowing like liquid crystal. The device showed tiny shapes moving in the air, symbols Daniel had never seen. The air inside the apartment felt charged, like electricity. Daniel's phone suddenly rang loudly on the table. He jumped, grabbed it quickly. The screen showed unknown caller. His hands shook as he answered. A low mechanical voice spoke. "Do not trust her." Then the line went dead. Daniel's blood ran cold. He looked at Leora. She stood calm, her face unreadable, but her glowing eyes did not blink. He whispered, "What is happening to me? What are you?" Leora stepped closer, her presence strong yet gentle. "I was sent to you as a gift, but not for love, not for joy. You must decide what I am to you," she said. Daniel's mind spun. He wanted to believe it was a dream, but the cold box still stood in his living room. The glowing woman was real. The strange phone call was real. Everything was real. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. The city lights flickered, and Daniel felt that his quiet, invisible life had ended. He had no idea what was coming. But he knew one thing. His birthday was no longer ordinary. It was the beginning of something beyond human understanding. And as Leora stood before him, her eyes shining, she whispered again, "They are already watching." The words echoed in his mind like a shadow of danger. The night had changed forever, and Daniel's life would never be the same again. Daniel sat on the edge of his sofa, his hands trembling, his eyes fixed on the strange woman standing in his living room. She looked calm, but he felt like the ground under his life had already broken. The box was still open, mist curling out like smoke, and the silence between them felt heavy. The woman, Leora, tilted her head slightly, studying him with eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. She spoke slowly, choosing each word with care. "You fear me, but I mean no harm." Her voice was soft, yet it carried a strange power, like music that could bend air. Daniel swallowed hard. "You said you were sent to me. You said you are not from this world. What does that even mean?" She looked down for a moment, as if remembering something painful. Then she raised her eyes. "I was chosen against my will. My people decided, and now I am here. Her words were clear, but her meaning was not. Daniel felt lost. He ran his fingers through his hair and laughed nervously. This is crazy. You can't just appear in a box on my birthday. Tell me you're an alien and expect me to believe. Leora stepped closer, her movement smooth and graceful. She raised her hand and touched the edge of his wooden table. Instantly, the table shook. A wave of light rippled across it. The wood grain shifted and reshaped like water, then returned to normal. Daniel's eyes widened. He stumbled back. What did you just do? I touched your world with my energy, she said quietly. I am not lying. I am not human. Daniel's phone buzzed again on the table. The unknown caller tried once more, but this time Daniel did not answer. Instead, he pushed the phone away. Fear building inside him, he stared at her. If you're real, then why me? Why was I chosen? She took a long breath, her voice gentle. Because you are ordinary. And that is why you are important. The Watchers do not choose kings or warriors. They choose the unseen, the forgotten, to test them. Daniel blinked, confused. Test? What test? What am I supposed to do? But Leora did not answer. She walked slowly around the room, her fingers brushing against his books, his old furniture, his cracked walls. She whispered, Your home speaks of loneliness. Your life is quiet, but your heart, it carries weight. Daniel's face grew hot. Her words cut deep. She was not wrong. His life was empty. But how could she know that? He asked sharply. How do you know about me? Did you study me? Did they tell you everything? Leora paused, her expression softening. No, I can feel it. Your emotions flow like light. Humans are not like us. You carry chaos in your hearts, and that chaos is why you are dangerous and why you are precious. Daniel could not respond. His mouth opened and closed. Part of him wanted to throw her out, to call the police. But another part of him felt drawn to her. She was strange, alien, but also vulnerable. He walked slowly to the kitchen, poured himself water, and tried to calm his racing heart. From the corner of his eye, he saw Leora watching him with quiet intensity. She did not blink often, and her allness made her seem more like a statue than a person. Finally, he whispered, You said they are watching. Who are they? What do they want? Leora's glowing eyes darkened slightly. The collectors, they are the Watcher's hand. They observe, they take, they erase, and they are near. I can feel them. They already know I spoke with you. Daniel almost dropped his glass. Collectors, that sounds like monsters out of a movie. Are you telling me the government or aliens or whatever are outside my door? She shook her head slowly. Not government, not human. The collectors serve no nation. They serve the Council of Eyes, and the Council is older than your world. Her words felt unreal, yet Daniel remembered the men in black suits he thought he saw through the window earlier. A chill ran down his spine. The air in the room grew heavy. The lights flickered again, and the television turned on by itself, static filling the screen. A voice whispered through the static, Humans, step away from her. Daniel dropped his glass. Water splashed across the floor. He shouted, What do you want from me? The static answered, She is not a gift, she is bait. Daniel's chest tightened. He looked at Leora, his voice shaky. Is that true? Are you bait? Are you here to trick me? Leora stepped forward quickly, her eyes glowing bright now. No, Daniel, I am not your enemy. I was forced into this. I did not choose. But you must believe me, your choice matters. Daniel's mind spun, his heart pounded. His life of silence was breaking apart. He had never been important, never been chosen for anything, yet now he was in the middle of something bigger than the earth itself. The television went black. The apartment fell silent again. Only the sound of the rain outside remained. Leora stood close, her voice almost a whisper. You must decide if I am your curse or your hope. Daniel could not move, his body frozen between fear and trust. The room felt like a cage, and outside, unseen eyes were watching, waiting. The night was no longer his. It belonged to the Watchers, and the test had already begun. The rain had stopped, but the city outside Daniel's apartment felt different. The streets looked quiet, too quiet. Even the usual noise of cars and horns seemed far away. Daniel stood near the window, his heart heavy, his hands pressed against the glass. Leora stood behind him, her silver glow faint but steady, her eyes scanning the world outside. They are close, she whispered, her voice soft, yet it cut through the silence like a blade. Daniel swallowed hard. Who is close? The collectors, the ones you spoke about. Leora nodded slowly, her face calm but her eyes sharp. Yes, they are here already. They follow the signal of the box. The gift was not hidden. It was a beacon. Daniel stepped back, fear crawling up his spine. You mean, that box brought them to me? To us? Yes, she said. The Watchers always give with one hand and take with the other. Nothing they do is simple. Before Daniel could reply, the lights in the apartment flickered again. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the walls. He heard faint footsteps in the hallway outside, slow, deliberate, like hunters closing in on prey. Daniel's breath grew fast. This can't be real. This is insane. People don't just get hunted by aliens on their birthday. Leora turned to him, her expression steady. Do not fear the word alien. Fear their silence. Fear their eyes. For the collectors do not speak with mouths. They speak with what they take. Suddenly, 3 sharp knocks hit his door. Not loud, not frantic, but cold, like a signal. Daniel froze, his legs weak. Don't open it, Leora said firmly, her hand glowing faintly. They will not stop if they see me. They will not stop if they see you beside me. The knocks came again, harder this time. The sound echoing like thunder in Daniel's small apartment. Daniel whispered, "What do they want from me? I'm just nobody." Leora stepped closer, her presence strong. You are not nobody to them, Daniel. You are the test, the unseen man who must make the choice. They will take you if you are weak. They will watch you if you resist. Daniel's chest tightened. He stumbled back, almost falling onto the couch. I don't want this. I never asked for this. Her voice softened. No one asks for the Watchers, but they come. They always come. The knocking stopped. Silence pressed against the room. Daniel dared to hope they had gone, but then a shadow moved under the door, stretching unnaturally, sliding like smoke across the floor. Daniel gasped. What is that? Leora raised her glowing hand. The shadow hissed, recoiling like a snake touched by fire. The room smelled of burning air. They are probing, she said calmly, searching for weakness. Daniel's fear grew stronger, but so did his anger. He clenched his fists. Why me? Why not some soldier, some scientist? Why a man like me? Leora looked at him for a long moment, her voice low. Because you do not hide behind power. Because your heart is bare. Because humanity is not tested by its strong, but by its fragile. Her words struck him deep. He hated them, but he also knew they felt true. From outside came the sound of footsteps again, but heavier this time. Like many boots moving together, Daniel pulled the curtains, but through a gap he saw them, men in black suits, standing under the flickering streetlight, their faces hidden by shadow, their bodies too still, too perfect. They did not shift. They did not blink. They only stood and watched. Daniel's stomach twisted. They look human. Are they human? Leora's eyes glowed brighter. No, they wear the skin of humans, but inside they are nothing you would know. They are vessels of the council. They are the eyes of the Watchers. Daniel stumbled back, pressing his hand to his mouth. His mind screamed at him to run, but his body felt trapped. Leora moved closer to him, her presence steady, her voice like a shield. Do not show fear, Daniel. They are waiting to see what you will do. The streetlight outside exploded suddenly. Sparks rained down. The men in suits did not flinch. They only lifted their heads in unison, their hidden faces turning toward Daniel's window. He felt their gaze pierce through the walls, through his skin, deep into his mind. He clutched his head, gasping, "They can see inside me!" Leora grabbed his arm, her touch warm, grounding. Then guard your heart, Daniel, for your thoughts are their map. Your fear is their key. A deep hum filled the air, low and vibrating. It made the glass shake. Daniel looked up, and his eyes widened. Above the city, high in the dark clouds, a shape moved, massive and silent, like a ship hidden in the sky. Lights rippled across its surface, patterns that twisted and changed. Daniel whispered, "Is that them? Is that their ship?" Leora nodded, her face unreadable. "That is the collector vessel. They do not hide because they believe no human will dare to look long enough to believe." The hum grew louder. The men in suits began walking toward the building, step by step, each movement slow, but unstoppable. Daniel backed away from the window, panic in his chest. "They're coming! What do we do? What do we do?" Leora's glowing eyes locked onto his, her voice calm but urgent. "You must choose now, Daniel. Hide and let them take me, or stand and claim me as yours, for the Watchers are not here to watch me. They are here to watch you." Daniel's heart pounded. Sweat rolled down his face. His knees shook. Outside the door another knock came, softer this time. Almost polite, but more terrifying than thunder. The Watchers had come, and the test was only beginning. The knock at the door echoed like a warning. Daniel stood frozen, sweat running down his back, his heart racing like a drum. The shadows under the door moved again, stretching long and thin. The men outside were not leaving. They were waiting. Leora placed her hand on his arm, her touch warm, her voice calm but urgent. "Daniel, we cannot stay. They will break through. They never stop. Not once they have chosen their target, Daniel whispered. How do we get out? They're at the door. They're outside. We're trapped. Her glowing eyes flickered. No, not trapped, but the way out is dangerous. She raised her other hand, and a small ripple spread across the far wall, like water moving on stone. A faint circle of light appeared. Daniel stared, his mouth open. What is that? A door, Leora said simply. Not your door, my door. The knocking grew louder. The wood splintered. Daniel could hear the faint hum of strange energy pressing against it. He didn't think, he just followed as Leora pulled him toward the glowing circle. The wall rippled and they stepped through. Daniel gasped. Suddenly they were outside, standing in the cold night air, the city around them alive with lights and sounds, but everything felt distant, wrong. Behind them, his apartment window flashed with light. A sharp crack echoed as the collectors entered, but the circle of light closed, cutting the sound away. Daniel bent forward, hands on his knees. What just happened? How did we do that? Leora looked at him, her face calm, though her glow was brighter now. I bent the space between 2 points. It is not safe to use often, but tonight safety does not exist. Daniel stared at her, half in awe, half in fear. You just teleported us. She nodded slowly. Yes, but it will not hide us for long. They can still trace me. We must move. They hurried down the street, Daniel, as shoes splashing through puddles, his chest burning from the run. But Leora moved with strange grace, never out of breath, her feet almost silent on the ground. Daniel glanced back and his stomach twisted. Far behind them, shadows moved on the rooftops. Tall figures watching, their faces hidden, their movements too smooth. The collectors had already found their trail. Leora, Daniel gasped. They're following. They're on the roofs. I know, she said, not slowing down. They will always follow. They were made to follow. But they cannot understand choice. That is why they test. That is why they fear. Her words made no sense to Daniel, yet he clung to them, his fear growing heavier with every step. They turned into a narrow alley, the walls close, the ground littered with trash. Daniel stopped to catch his breath. We can't keep running like this. They'll catch us. Leora lifted her hand and the shadows around them bent. The alley seemed darker, deeper, like the world itself had shifted. She whispered, I can cloak us, but only for a short time. Daniel pressed against the wall, watching as the shadows wrapped around them like a blanket. Moments later, 2 men in black suits passed at the mouth of the alley, their heads turning slowly, searching. Daniel held his breath, his heart pounding in his chest. The men paused, their bodies stiff, then moved on, their steps fading into the night. Daniel exhaled sharply, whispering, That was too close. Too close. Leora lowered her hand, her glow dimming. Every escape is close, Daniel, but the collectors will not give up. They are bound to the council's will, as I was bound. Daniel turned to her sharply. Bound? What do you mean? What are you to them? Why did they send you to me? She looked away, her voice heavy. I am their message. I am their test. I was given to you not as a gift of kindness, but as a mirror, or of your heart. If you treat me as an object, your world will be judged weak. If you see me as more, your world may survive. Daniel's stomach knotted. He could not believe what he was hearing, but deep inside, it felt true. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the sky. Daniel looked up, his eyes widening. Above the city, a massive black shape moved, silent and cold. The collector ship had come closer, its underside glowing with shifting symbols. Leora grabbed his hand, her voice urgent. We must keep moving. We must reach a place they cannot see, at least not yet. Daniel stumbled as she pulled him. Where? Where can we hide from something like that? Her glowing eyes narrowed. Beneath your world, in the forgotten tunnels, the places humans no longer claim. They cannot bend their eyes so far into shadow. Daniel had no choice. He followed her, his body weak but his mind racing. His life had turned into something unreal, and yet he knew it was only the beginning. They moved deeper into the city, through old streets, broken fences, past the silent warehouses that slept in darkness. Finally, Leora stopped before a rusted metal grate leading underground. She touched it, and it unlocked with a hiss. Daniel hesitated, looking at the black hole below. You want me to go in there? It looks like a grave. Her voice was steady. Better a grave of earth than a cage of the sky, trust me. Daniel took a deep breath, then climbed down. The air was damp, cold, filled with the smell of rust and dust. Leora followed, her glow lighting the tunnel faintly. Above them, faint footsteps echoed again, the collectors moving, searching, never stopping. Daniel whispered, They won't stop, will they? Leora shook her head, her eyes glowing brighter in the dark. "No, Daniel, they will not stop, but neither will we. For now you are no longer ordinary. You are the center of their gaze, and your choices are the only light left for your kind." The tunnel swallowed them, the sounds of the world above fading, the escape had begun, but the hunt had only just started. The tunnels stretched far under the city, old bricks damp with water, rusted pipes dripping slowly, rats scurrying in the dark. Daniel's footsteps echoed, uneven and shaky. The smell of metal and dust filled his lungs. Behind him, Leora walked in silence, her faint silver glow lighting the walls. She seemed untouched by fear, though her eyes kept scanning the shadows, as if danger could rise from the dark at any second. Daniel rubbed his arms, shivering. Why here? Why underground? Leora's voice was calm, almost soft. Because the collectors prefer the open sky. Their gaze is wide, but not deep. Here in the forgotten places their sight is weak. It gives us time, nothing more. Daniel shook his head, his voice bitter. Time for what? I don't even know why this is happening to me. I don't know who you really are. I don't know what they want from me. Leora stopped walking, her glowing eyes fixed on him, her voice heavier now. Then it is time you knew, Daniel. Time you understood why I was sent to you. Daniel felt his chest tighten. He nodded slowly, afraid but desperate for answers. Leora stepped closer, the tunnel light reflecting in her silver skin. I was born far from this world, in a place of endless towers and burning skies. My people are older than yours, wiser in knowledge, but colder in heart. We serve the Council of Eyes, beings who see across galaxies, who judge entire worlds as if they were simple seeds in the dirt. Daniel listened, his mind spinning. And you serve them too? Her face darkened. I was made to, yes, but I am not free. When the council marks a world, they send one of us, a living gift, not to honor, but to test. The world does not know it is being judged. The chosen human does not know he is part of a trial, but the outcome decides everything. Daniel's heart raced. A trial, foe, our Earth. Leora nodded. Yes, and you, Daniel, are the center of it. The ordinary man chosen not because of greatness, but because of your smallness, because you are unseen, because your heart is not shielded by power or pride. Daniel laughed weakly, the sound shaking. That's insane. I'm nothing. I live alone. I work in a bookstore. I can't even take care of myself properly. And you're telling me the future of Earth depends on me. Her glowing eyes softened. That is why you were chosen, Daniel. The council believes humans are fragile, weak, slaves to fear. But sometimes in weakness lies strength. Sometimes the forgotten show the greatest courage, and they want to see if that truth lives in you. Daniel felt dizzy. He leaned against the tunnel wall. So what? What is the test? What do I have to do? Leora's voice lowered, serious. The test is simple, yet cruel. I was given to you as a possession, a gift to own. If you see me only as property, if you use me, then humanity will be judged as unworthy. But if you see me as a person, if you choose respect over control, then you show them that humans carry something greater than power. You carry compassion. Daniel's throat went dry. He whispered, That's it. That's the test. Just how I treat you. Yes, Leora said, but do not think it is small. For worlds have been burned for less, and the collectors wait for your failure. Silence filled the tunnel, the dripping water echoing. Daniel shook his head. This isn't fair. How can one man decide the fate of billions? I never asked for this. I never wanted this. Leora looked at him, her eyes glowing brighter. No one asks, but choices are made all the same, Daniel. The council does not care if you want this. They only care if you reveal the truth of your kind. Daniel closed his eyes, his thoughts a storm. Part of him wanted to scream, to deny it all, but another part of it, in the deeper part, knew there was no escape. He opened his eyes and stared at her. Why are you telling me this now? Why not before? Her voice softened, almost human. Because I needed to see you first. I needed to know if you could carry the truth without breaking, and now I believe you can. Daniel laughed bitterly. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm about to collapse. Leora stepped closer, her hand brushing his shoulder. Strength is not about feeling strong. It is about choosing even when you are afraid. It is about standing when everything tells you to fall. Her words burned into him. He wanted to believe them. He wanted to think he could matter. Suddenly the tunnel shook, dust falling from the ceiling, a deep hum filling the air. Daniel's stomach dropped. They found us. Leora's eyes hardened, glowing like fire. Yes, the collectors do not stop. They are near. But remember what I told you. Remember the truth, for when they come, they will not only test me, they will test you. Daniel's body trembled, but he clenched his fists, for the first time feeling not just fear, but a spark of defiance. Above them, a metallic screech echoed, the sound of something massive shifting. The collector ship was moving closer. Leora whispered, her voice sharp like steel. "Your choice is coming, Daniel, and the fate of your world is already watching." The tunnel grew darker, the hum louder, and Daniel knew the truth could no longer be hidden. The tunnels shook with a deep rumble, dust falling from the ceiling, pipes creaking. Daniel pressed his back to the damp wall, his heart pounding. He could hear the strange hum above, like a giant machine crawling across the sky. Leora stood tall beside him, her silver glow brighter now, her eyes sharp and focused. "They are here, Daniel. The collectors have come to take me back," she said, her voice steady. Daniel's throat. It went dry. "And if they take you, what happens?" Her gaze met his, unblinking. "If I return with them, the council will mark Earth as weak. They will decide you are not worthy of freedom. They will prepare your world for harvest." Daniel felt his stomach twist. The word harvest burned in his ears. "Harvest, like crops," he whispered. "Yes," Leora said quietly. "Like crops, your people will not even understand until it is too late." Heavy footsteps echoed through the tunnel, slow, steady, unnatural. Daniel turned and saw them. The men in black suits, their faces blank shadows, their eyes cold and empty. They moved with perfect rhythm, like puppets controlled by invisible strings. The collectors stopped a few steps away, their voices rising together in a single low sound. "Give her to us, human, and your world will be spared for now." Daniel froze, sweat dripping from his forehead. He felt their gaze pressing into his mind, like claws searching through his thoughts, his fears. Leora stepped forward, blocking him, her voice defiant. "You cannot have him. You cannot force the choice." But the collectors only tilted their heads, their voices repeating, "Choose, human, give her to us, or fall with her." Daniel's legs shook, his chest tightened. Part of him wanted to scream yes, to hand her over, to survive. But another part of him burned with anger. How could they ask him to betray her? How could they treat his entire world as nothing? He looked at Leora, her glowing eyes soft now, filled with quiet sadness. She whispered, "Daniel, if you give me to them, they will leave you in peace. Your life will go back to silence. But if you refuse, you will carry the burden of war." Daniel shook his head, his voice breaking. "This isn't fair. I'm just one man. I can't decide for Earth. I can't decide for billions of people." Leora reached out, her hand on his arm, her touch warm, grounding. "You can, because the Watchers chose you, because sometimes one man's heart speaks louder than armies." The collectors moved closer, their bodies shimmering with strange light. The tunnel groaned with the weight of their presence. "Choose now, human. Your time is over," they said. Daniel's fists clenched, his whole body trembling. He felt the pressure of their eyes crushing him. But he also felt something else, a spark deep inside, something he had never believed in before. He stepped forward, his voice shaking but loud. "No, you can't take her. You can't take Earth. I won't let you." The tunnel exploded with sound. The collectors hissed, their shadow faces twisting, their eyes glowing red. They raised their hands, light forming like blades. Leora stood in front of Daniel, her body glowing brighter. "Your choice is made, Daniel. Now I will stand with you." She lifted both hands, silver fire bursting from her palms. The tunnel walls shook. The collectors staggered back, their suits tearing like smoke. Daniel shielded his face, the light so bright it burned his eyes. He heard the clash of forces, the sound of energy striking stone, the collectors screeching in unison. When he dared to look, he saw Leora standing like a shield, her body blazing with light. Every step of the collectors met with her fire. The tunnel itself cracked and shook, pipes bursting, water rushing across the floor. Daniel shouted, "You'll die if you fight them all. There are too many." Leora turned her head, her glowing eyes fierce. "I am not fighting for me, Daniel. I am fighting for you, for your kind, because your choice has given me strength I did not know I had." The collectors screamed louder, their bodies flickering, pieces of their form breaking like glass, but still they pushed forward, endless, relentless. Daniel's fear grew, but so did his courage. He picked up a broken metal pipe from the ground, his hands shaking but his voice firm. "Then I'll fight with you." He swung at the nearest collector, the metal passing through its body like smoke, but the figure staggered, its form flickering. Daniel shouted, striking again, this time with all his strength. Together they pushed back, Leora's light and Daniel's stubborn defiance. The tunnel filled with chaos, sparks, fire, and shadow. At last, the collectors stopped, their forms trembling, their voices fading into a single hiss. "The council has seen. The choice is made." Their bodies shattered into mist, vanishing into the darkness. Silence crashed into the tunnel. Only the sound of dripping water remained. Daniel collapsed against the wall, his chest heaving, his hands raw from gripping the pipe. He whispered, "Are they gone?" Lyora's glow dimmed, her body trembling. "For now, but not forever. The council will not stop. They never stop. But your choice has marked you, Daniel. You are no longer invisible. You are the man who refused." Daniel's heart pounded, fear still deep inside, but also a strange fire. He looked at her, whispering, "Then what happens now?" Leora's glowing eyes softened, a faint smile touching her lips. Now the world waits for judgment, and the sky is watching. Above them, through the cracks in the tunnel, Daniel could see faint lights moving. The alien mothership had arrived, vast and endless, blotting out the stars. The test was not over, it had only changed, and the final judgment was about to begin. The tunnels shook as if the earth itself was alive. Daniel looked up through a crack in the ceiling, his breath catching. Above the city, the sky was no longer dark. It was filled with light. A massive ship hovered above, larger than mountains, its surface shifting with strange symbols that glowed and moved like rivers of fire. Daniel pressed his hand against the wall, his heart pounding. "It's here, Leora, the mothership." Lyora stood beside him, her silver glow faint now. Her body weakened from the battle, but her eyes burned brighter than ever. "Yes, Daniel, the council has arrived to judge. Your choice has reached them." A deep voice rolled through the air, not from speakers, not from mouths, but from everywhere at once. It rattled through stone and bone alike. "Human, you refused. You defied the collectors. Speak now, for the fate of your world hangs on your words." Daniel staggered, his legs weak, his chest heavy. He had never spoken for anyone but himself, and now he was asked to speak for billions. He looked at Leora, panic in his eyes. "What do I say? I don't know what to say." Lyora touched his shoulder, her hand warm despite the cold of the tunnel. "Speak truth, Daniel. Speak what is in your heart. The council sees beyond lies. They hunger for what is real." Daniel took a shaking breath, closed his eyes, and shouted into the vibrating air. "We are not perfect. We are small. We fight, we fail, but we also love, we protect. We rise even when we are broken. If you test us by power, we will fail. But if you test us by heart, then know this. No one fights harder for each other than humans." The ground shook harder. The tunnel walls cracked. The council's voice filled the air again. "Your kind destroys its world. Your kind makes war. Your kind spreads chaos. Why should you survive?" Daniel's fists clenched. His voice broke but grew louder. "Because we can change. Because we are more than our mistakes. Because even when the world turns against us, one human will still stand for another. I stood for her. I would stand again. That is who we are." Silence followed, heavy, endless. Daniel's body shook, sweat dripping. He thought he had failed. Then the tunnel filled with light, pure and blinding. It poured through the cracks, washing over him. He shielded his eyes, but he felt warmth, not pain. Leora stepped forward, her voice strong though her body trembled. "Council of Eyes, you see now this human was ordinary, forgotten, invisible, yet he chose compassion over survival. He chose loyalty over fear. This is the strength of his kind. This is why humanity must be spared." The deep voice rumbled again, softer this time, almost thoughtful. "The gift has spoken, the human has chosen, the heart has triumphed where power fails. Earth shall be spared, but the trial is not ended, it has only begun." The light faded, the ground stilled. Daniel opened his eyes. The massive ship still hung above the city, but its glow dimmed. The collectors were gone, their shadows erased. Daniel collapsed to his knees, his body shaking with relief and exhaustion. "We did it, Leora. We really did it." She knelt beside him, her silver glow flickering. "You did it, Daniel, not me. Your choice carried the weight, and the council listened." Daniel looked at her, his voice soft. "But what about you? What happens now?" Her glowing eyes darkened, sadness filling them. "I cannot stay, Daniel. I was never meant to belong here. The council will take me back. I was their messenger, their mirror. My task is complete." Daniel's heart clenched. He reached for her hand, holding it tightly. "No, you're not just a messenger. You're not just some test. You're real. You matter." For the first time, her lips curved into a faint smile, a fragile thing. "You see me, Daniel, and that is why your world still has hope." Above them, the air shimmered, a circle of light opening, pulling at her, drawing her upward. Daniel gripped her hand harder, his voice desperate. "Please don't go." Leora's voice trembled, yet it stayed calm. "I must, but remember this. One human's choice can change everything. Never forget, the sky is still watching, and your kind must keep proving itself. every day, every moment. Her hand slipped from his, her body lifted into the light, her silver glow merging with the sky, and then she was gone. Daniel fell back, his chest hollow, his heart heavy, yet within the emptiness burned a spark. A memory of her words, a memory of his choice. The ship above slowly vanished, the night sky returning, stars peeking through the clouds, the city below unaware of the judgment that had just passed, unaware of how close they had come to doom. Daniel sat in the broken tunnel, alone, yet not the same man he had been. He whispered into the darkness, one choice, one heart, one human. The echo carried softly through the tunnels, like a promise, and far above, unseen by human eyes, the council of eyes watched, waiting, judging, and perhaps for the first time, believing.